Hello and welcome to another What's Inside. Today we are looking at the Office DVD board game. This is based on the TV series, and I believe this is only covering, I think, the first 3 or 4 seasons. So it does not cover the entire series. And you can see the characters on the front here. Any questions? It's a DVD game, so you have to make sure the DVD is included if you buy this used. And that's probably going to be the only way you buy it, unless you spend an inordinate amount of money online. This is for 2 to 6 adult players. The show is a little more adult themed in some circumstances, so some of the questions may be inappropriate for kids. And it is 2 to 6 players. Inside, we are going to find the DVD, the game board, 16 game pieces, 6 mover stands, 300 Shroot bucks, a die, and instructions. That's all that's in here. So let's take a look at what we got. So here's our instruction sheet. It's laid out like a memo from Dunder Mifflin, ironically on pretty mid-grade printer paper. It is double-sided. So we get that out of the way. And we've got our game board. We've got a little advertisement here for some TV shows. Then we have the actual disc, the standees, and the Shroot bucks. I'll zoom in a little bit on these so we can get a better look at them, but that's really all there is to it. Here's our mover stands. They're just standard black stands for cardboard cutouts, and they just go on there. No big deal. We've got a 6-sided die. Normal, regular game size die. Now our DVD is in a nice case, shockingly. Usually they just put these in envelopes and they get pretty banged up. But this is actually really high quality. It's just your standard DVD case with the DVD inside. And it'll say the Office board game on it. Nothing too fancy otherwise, just your standard DVD. And I believe it does have clips from the show, but I'm not 100% on that. I haven't played this yet. So let me zoom in a little bit so you can get a better look at the player pieces and the Shroot bucks. Okay, your Shroot bucks are all the same. They're just $1, one Shroot buck, and it says motivational tool at the bottom. You got Dwight in there, the Dunder Mifflin logo. It says $1. You're not going to mistake these for real money. They're incredibly small, and they're one-sided. So you get 300 of these. These are incredibly easy to tear or crumple. They're very, very thin paper, so be aware of that. You may have to replace some of them, and that actually won't be too incredibly difficult to do. So they're not anything disguised or anything. It's just a big stack of them. I don't think you'll use anywhere near 300 of them. If you do, you're probably going to lose the game. Somebody's going to get crushed. So then you got your support stand here, and you've got your character cards, which are all characters from the show. And you only get 6 of these, and you've got 16 of these. So all the major characters are covered. You got Stanley, you got Oscar, you got, what's her name? Phyllis. Roy's in here. Toby. There's Jim. You can tell that by the old haircut, this is not from any of the later seasons. There's Pam. Michael. The skanky one. Dwight. Kevin. Jan's in here. Ryan the intern, and Angela. So these are actually pretty decent quality. They do rip very easily at the base though. As you can see, Ryan here has got some damage from use. I don't remember how to play this, but all the trivia questions are on the DVD, so when you're playing that, you'll have to select from the answers there, and then you'll get a Shroot buck if you're right. So they're pretty decent thickness, but it does peel fairly easily from jamming them in and out of the base. So be aware of that. If you're missing a couple of these, it probably won't matter too much. as long as you have enough for everybody to play. If you're missing one, you'll probably have a hard time replacing the individual pieces, because these type of games tend to just end up at Goodwills, and they're not very valuable because they mass marketed them. So they actually end up being kind of hard to find, as opposed to being easier to find because people throw them away. They were usually around $10, so $10 to $20. So people didn't typically keep them. And it is a Pressman game, and that means that it's a smaller publisher compared to like Milton Bradley imprint. So yeah, the quality tends to be very variable. So let me zoom out. We'll get a look at the game board. All right. So our game board is a 4-fold board. It's very straightforward. You basically move around. You start up in the corner, up here, and then move down and around. And there are different places to go. You got Michael's office, you got accounting, you got sales, you've got the customer relations, human resources, petty cash, and the conference room. Everything's pretty laid out. There's just different images around. Now the board quality is only okay. It's got that real cheap lacquer on it, so the board itself, if it's not stored in a cool, dry place, will stick together over time. Even if it is stored properly, it's not going to hold up really, really well because it is very cheap coating on here. The board itself is an okay thickness, but the cheap plastic coating that they've got on here is going to either stick together or force it to warp. So there's not much to it. The game is pretty easy to play as long as you have everything. With DVDs being on their way out, you're probably going to end up calling this a vintage game sooner than you think. But from a collector's standpoint, if you're a big Office fan, you'll want to add this to your collection. It is a game that I think fans will really enjoy. The average person who hasn't seen the show obviously isn't going to know anything about this. Probably isn't going to want to play either. So this is really for the diehards, but quality's not that bad. The board's a little cheap, so I'd be real careful about that. And of course you have to make sure the DVD is there. The Shroot Bucks you could replicate. The tokens you could probably replicate or replace. So I don't think you'd have too much problem with that, but the DVD has to be functional and you have to have the board. But that is what is inside the Office DVD board game. Definitely check it out if you're into The Office. It's from Pressman, and this came out in 2008. So that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Be sure and hit like and subscribe. It really helps us out. If you're already subscribed, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss an episode. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.